Viltrox released the 50mm f2 air lens, which is designed for full-frame mirrorless cameras. This lens is available in Nikon Z and Sony E mounts. Hi, my name is Miklos Mayer. I'm a photography tour guide in Budapest, Hungary, and I've already tested two Viltrox lenses and I love them. So Viltrox sent me the third one, this 50mm f2 lens. So I'm going to go through the optical quality, the build quality of the lens, and I will show you real-life examples from Budapest. And of course, no lens review can be complete without a nighttime portrait photo shooting in Budapest, Hungary. This is a very cheap and very light lens, but the optical quality is absolutely phenomenal. You will see in a minute. Thank God the lens itself is not metal, so it can be light, but it's a high quality plastic. That's good. Of course, the lens mount itself is metal, and of course it has the USB-C port for future firmware updates. Now on the front of the lens, AF, so of course is autofocusing 50mm f2 lens, and STM, which is a silent autofocusing motor by Viltrox, and it also says aspherical, so this lens has aspherical elements as well as ED, extra low dispersion elements, and of course IF, which means internal focusing. The front element is not moving when you're focusing. And by the way, autofocusing, the lens is completely silent when you're autofocusing, and from the minimum focusing distance of ½ meter to all the way to infinity, it's quite fast going back and forth. Inside the lens you find 9 aperture blades, so this gives you a really creamy, soft bokeh. We will see that later in the video. And of course Viltrox gives you a lens hood, which I always struggle to put it on correctly. Okay, I just did it. So it's a lens hood, or of course you can put it back the other way. Some people are laughing at this, but this can also make sense because now the lens hood is actually protecting the lens. So if you drop it, then the hood protects it, and also you just don't lose the hood. Let's see the optical quality of the lens. Here I used a Nikon Z7 II, and I was shooting the Parliament building in Budapest, Hungary from across the river. By the way, this is a spot where I almost always take my photography tour guests. This is a beautiful spot at night. And as you can see, even at f2, at the widest aperture, the center is perfectly sharp. And if I go to the edge of the frame, it's still pretty sharp. At f2, it has quite heavy vignetting, but as you stop it down, the vignetting completely goes away. Don't forget that you can download many of these raw images, so you can pixel peep for yourself how sharp the lens is. I think it makes perfect sense to compare the Viltrox 50mm f2 lens with Nikon's own 40mm f2 lens. They are roughly the same focal length, same weight and price tag and aperture. So I did a side-by-side test, and in terms of sharpness, the Viltrox lens clearly has an edge over the Nikon. At f2 in the center, it's clearly sharper and especially sharper at the corners. And the Nikon lens doesn't get that much good when stopped down, whereas the Viltrox just shines even at the corners when stopped down. I am here in Budapest with my friend, and let's see how the Viltrox 50mm f2 lens performs with night portraits.
I think we need to do it again.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. So we set out to the beautiful streets of Budapest and searched for places that have some good artificial lighting. For example, this shop has big white lights leading up the storefront, so we started here. As you can see, the autofocus tracked her down pretty well, and then I did the autofocus back and forth focusing test. I think the speed is absolutely alright here. This is a portrait lens. The AF doesn't need to be super fast. Then we went to the pedestrian street that leads up to the St. Stephen's Cathedral, and I asked my model to stand in the center. And again, we had lights coming from the sides, and I think these photos turned out really well. I really like the out of focus areas. Her face is completely sharp. As you can see, the out of focus areas are rendered in an even way. And in this video, you can see it even better when I asked her to come closer towards me, and all the lights in the background, how they get out of focus and get creamy. And their shape are quite circularly like, so they are not like ellipses. To be honest, I quite like when you have those ellipse shapes. So in this case, it's more like a circle shape. We also went into this alleyway. I like framing with arches and using the leading lines. However, the color accuracy of these lights are terrifically bad, and no matter how you adjust the white balance, the skin tones are always going to look like the Great Depression. So in this case, turning it into black and white is a much better option. Some more photos of Budapest for your entertainment, so you can really see the crazy level of sharpness. The wide aperture of f2 can do the same thing as the Hungarian government, bring the shiny subjects forward and blur the poor people in the surroundings. Even people further away can be easily blurred while not compromising any of the image quality at f2. Just look at the insanely clear details here, and not just in the center, but also near the edges. It's just epic, especially from a $199 lens. And by the way, this is the Parliament building, but from the other side. And in this case, the vignetting of the lens makes the sky more dramatic, so even better. I edited all these photos in Luminar Neo. This is how the original raw photo looked like. And after some very basic AI enhanced editing in Luminar Neo, this is what I got. Make sure to watch my Luminar tutorial. I will link it up here. There's absolutely not much point in stopping down. This sunset photo was taken at f2 with the 45 megapixel of the Nikon Z7 II. And look how perfect the disk of the sun is. There's no chromatic aberration and the detail is phenomenal. You buy this lens for the f2, you use it at f2. So overall, I'm extremely satisfied with the Viltrox 50mm f2 lens. The optical quality is absolutely phenomenal. Sharpness is incredible. You buy this lens for the f2 and basically you use it at f2. It's cheap and lightweight, so I think it's a perfect companion for any full-frame Nikon or Sony cameras. Now under the video you will find affiliate links to buy the Viltrox lenses, not just this one but also other lenses, and of course you can download many of the raw files so you can see yourself the image quality. See you soon and all the best from Hungary.